identity politics, I call it an affront to human dignity, a cancer to human dignity, because again, it starts off with a quasi-noble goal. Hey, if there are institutional forces that have led some people to not fully participate in whichever endeavor, then of course we should, as good people, seek to remove these. But that demonstrates the tension or the conflation between equality of opportunities and equality of outcomes. Equality of opportunities is something that we should seek. Equality of outcomes is idiotic, right? To use the football analogy, to go back to it, since 1930, when the World Cup of men's soccer started, only 8 countries have ever won the World Cup. Well, that seems a bit racist. How come Namibia's never won it? It seems quite Islamophobic. How come no Islamic countries never won it? It seems anti-Semitic. Israel is yet to win it, right? And so on and so forth, right? So you don't necessarily expect in a competition for there to be a perfect representation of whichever demographic trait you want to focus on. That's contrary to one of the most fundamental protective belts of an enlightened society, which is you elevate the individual. That's classical liberalism. It's, I am Gad Saad before I am Lebanese Jew. Lebanese Jew is one part of who Gad Saad is, but when I present myself to the world, I am not speaking on behalf of anybody other than Gad Saad. So when you judge me and all my qualities and any faults that I may have, well, that's what you should judge me by. So identity politics throws that out the window. So how does it manifest itself in say, academia, although we could discuss it in other cases? Well, now we have what I call, and I discussed this in the Pacific Mind, we have what I call the DI religion. DI stands for diversity, inclusion, and equity. So we no longer, in a domain where everything should be defined by excellence, we no longer attribute excellence or give professorships or even chaired professorships based on the weight of your dossier, but we give it based on whether you hold certain immutable traits or not. That's grotesque. Now, it behooves me to understand how these administrators, these czars of equity, how they actually fail to see that, right? Because nobody, for example, if you look at the number of folks who have won the Boston Marathon over the last 30 years, let me summarize it very quickly for you. Kenya, 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 Ethiopia, Kenya, 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 Kenya. So how come there we don't proclaim that there is a problem, right? Well, because for whatever reason, folks who come from Kenya, and there are various arguments as to why that might be the case, are more likely to succeed in that particular sport, but they don't win, say, in the 100 meters, right? They have a different type of morphology. So the idea that we should be always trying to, let's look at Princeton's math department, and if they don't have the requisite number of Black mathematicians, aha, it must be systemic racism. It's grotesque, and hopefully it will end one day soon.